You walk out on me and you think you will marry my daughter? Let's see, poor and wrecked boy, let's see. Love is beyond your $700,000. You give birth to her, but I have her now. Bye.
A briefcase slides across a mahogany table. The sound of leather against polished wood echoes in the silent room. Inside, stacks of $100 bills are neatly arranged. $700,000 in cash. The father's hands are steady, confident. He's made deals like this before. Money always wins. Always. The poor guy sits across from him, staring at the open briefcase. His hands rest on his knees, calloused from work, rough from years of helping his father grind herbs and mix medicines. He doesn't reach for the money. He doesn't even blink. The father leans forward, his expensive cologne filling the space between them. His voice is low, measured, the voice of a man who's never been told no. He tells the poor guy to take the money. Walk away from his daughter. Forget she exists. Forget her name. Forget her face. Forget everything. The poor guy's eyes lift slowly from the cash to meet the father's gaze. There's no anger there. No greed. Just a quiet, unshakable resolve. His lips part, and one word leaves his mouth. No. The weight of that single word hangs in the air like a guillotine blade. The mother gasps. She's been standing by the window, arms crossed, thinking this would be over in minutes. She spins around, her diamond earrings catching the light. Her voice is sharp, disbelieving. What did he just say? The poor guy doesn't flinch. He repeats it. No. The father's face darkens. His fist slams down on the table, rattling the briefcase. The bills don't move. They sit there, silent witnesses to a battle of wills. He asks if the poor guy has any idea how much money this is. His voice is rising now, cracking at the edges with frustration. The poor guy nods. He does know. He knows exactly what $700,000 means. It means his father's clinic could have new equipment. It means he could finish his medical studies. It means security, stability, a future without constant worry. But he also knows what it costs. The mother steps closer, her heels clicking against marble. She demands to know why he's still sitting there. Why isn't he grabbing the money and running? Why isn't he grateful? The poor guy's voice is calm, almost soft. He says their daughter isn't something he can sell. She's not a transaction. She's not a deal to be closed. The father laughs, but it's a bitter sound, empty of humor. He asks if the poor guy thinks this is about love. Does he think love pays rent? Buys medicine? Feeds children? His words are weapons, aimed to wound. The poor guy leans forward slightly, and for the first time, there's steel in his voice. He says love kept their daughter alive when their money couldn't. The room falls silent. The father's face goes white. The mother's hand flies to her mouth. 3 weeks earlier. The city is alive with noise, honking cars, construction, voices overlapping in 1,000 conversations. In the middle of it all, a luxury sedan sits on the side of Wellington Street, hazard lights blinking. The hood is up. Smoke rises from the engine. Inside, the daughter sits behind the wheel, her forehead pressed against the steering column. Her hands are shaking. She's burning up, fever climbing higher with every passing minute. Her phone is pressed to her ear, ringing. Ringing. Her father's voice finally comes through, distracted, impatient. She tries to explain, her car broke down, she doesn't feel well, she needs help. But he's in a meeting. Background noise filters through, clinking glasses, laughter, important people discussing important things. He tells her to call the driver. To ask her mother. Then the line goes dead. She sits there, phone clutched in her hand, staring at the blank screen. Around her, the city moves. A woman in a business suit walks past without looking. A delivery driver swerves around her car, shouting something she can't hear. A man in a BMW rolls up his window when she tries to wave. No one stops. She pushes open the car door, stumbling onto the sidewalk. Her legs are weak, trembling. The world tilts sideways. She leans against her car, trying to breathe, trying to stay upright. Then someone is running toward her. Footsteps pounding the pavement. A voice cuts through the noise, urgent, concerned. Can she hear him? Is she okay? She looks up. A young man is kneeling in front of her, hands hovering near her shoulders, afraid to touch without permission. His clothes are simple, worn. His face is kind. His eyes are the first thing she's seen all day that doesn't look through her. Her vision blurs. She tries to speak, but the words won't come. Her knees buckle. He catches her before she hits the ground. The poor guy carries her through the narrow streets of the East Quarter. She's unconscious in his arms, her designer dress dragging in the dust. People stare. Some whisper. A girl like her doesn't belong here. He kicks open the door to his father's clinic. It's small, cramped, filled with jars of dried herbs and handwritten labels. The air smells like ginger and earth. His father looks up from grinding roots, eyes widening. They lay her on a cot in the back room. The herbalist father checks her pulse, pulls back her eyelids, touches her forehead. His face grows serious. He asks how long she's been like this. The poor guy doesn't know. He just found her. The herbalist father shakes his head. This isn't sudden. She's been sick for days, maybe weeks. Her body is fighting something deep, something that's been building for a long time. This is advanced. Dangerous. The poor guy asks if he can help her. His father doesn't answer right away. He moves quickly, pulling jars from shelves, measuring powders, boiling water. He says she can't be moved. She's too weak. She needs to stay here. The daughter murmurs something in her delirium. Her parents. They'll be looking for her. The poor guy pulls a chair beside her cot. He tells her softly, even though she can't hear, that no one's looking for her yet. She should rest. He doesn't leave her side. 2 days pass. The daughter's fever breaks in the middle of the night. She wakes slowly, confused, disoriented. The ceiling above her is cracked plaster, not the smooth white of her bedroom. The walls are close, the room tiny. Where is she? She sits up too quickly. Dizziness washes over her. A voice tells her to take it slow. She turns her head. The poor guy is sitting in the same chair, a book open on his lap. He looks tired, like he hasn't slept. He explains where she is, safe, in his home, treated by his father. She collapsed. She's been unconscious for 2 days. 2 days. The words sink in slowly. She reaches for her phone. Dead. He hands it to her, already charged. She unlocks it, expecting a flood of notifications. The lock screen is empty. No missed calls. No messages. No one wondering where she is. Her hands start to shake. She stares at the screen, refreshing it, checking again. Nothing. The poor guy watches her, understanding dawning in his eyes. She asks quietly if he's sure it's been 2 days. He nods. She sets the phone down and turns away from him. Her shoulders start to shake. She's crying, but making no sound. She doesn't want him to see. He sees anyway. He doesn't say anything. He just stays. The days blur together. She stays because she's still weak. At least, that's what she tells herself. But the truth is, she doesn't want to leave. In the mornings, the poor guy makes simple food, rice porridge, steamed vegetables, ginger tea. Nothing like the elaborate meals at home, but she eats every bite. She watches him move around the tiny kitchen, efficient and careful. He asks if she needs anything. More blankets. Water. Medicine. One morning, she asks why he stopped. Why did he help her when everyone else kept walking? He's stirring soup on the stove. He doesn't turn around. He says simply that she needed help. She presses. That's it. That's the only reason. He finally looks at her. He asks if there should be another reason. She stares at him for a long moment. In her world, yes. There's always another reason. People don't do things without expecting something in return. Favors. Recognition. Advancement. But he's looking at her like the question itself is strange. She tells him most people need a reason. Or a reward. He says he's not most people. She realizes, sitting in that tiny room with peeling paint and second-hand furniture, that he's telling the truth. He's not like anyone she's ever known. Something shifts inside her chest. Something warm and terrifying. The herbalist father checks her vitals daily. Her recovery is steady, remarkable. He tells her she's responding well to the medicine. She asks what it is, what's in the bitter tea she drinks 3 times a day. He explains it's an ancient formula, passed down through generations of his family. Hospitals don't use these methods anymore. Too traditional. Too old-fashioned. Too associated with people who can't afford modern medicine. She looks at the herbs drying on racks along the wall. She tells him quietly that this medicine saved her life. The herbalist father nods. He says modern medicine couldn't. Her body rejected it. He's seen it before in people with complicated lives. People whose bodies are shutting down not from disease, but from stress. From emotional pain. From hearts that are too tired to keep fighting. She looks across the room. The poor guy is cleaning, organizing jars, unaware she's watching. The herbalist father follows her gaze and smiles. She whispers that her heart isn't tired anymore. The old man pats her hand. He knows. In a mansion across the city, the mother paces. She's on her phone, her voice rising with each sentence. Her daughter has been gone for a week. A whole week. Where is she? Why hasn't she called? The father sits in his office, calm, reading reports. He says she'll come back. She always does. The mother asks what if she doesn't? What if something happened? What if she's in trouble? The father finally looks up. He says if she doesn't come back, they'll move forward without her. The mother stops pacing. She asks what he means. The father stands, walking to the window. He tells her about the Caldwell Group. They're offering a merger. $5 billion. Complete market control. The opportunity of a lifetime. The mother asks what this has to do with their daughter. The father turns. His face is unreadable. He says their son wants to marry her. The words hang in the air. The mother's face goes pale. She asks if he's serious. He's always serious when it comes to business. The mother says their daughter is not a business asset. She's their child. The father says she's both. And right now, they need her to be the former. The meeting takes place in a private boardroom. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlook the city. The Caldwell son arrives exactly on time, dressed in a tailored suit that probably costs more than the poor guy's father makes in a year. James Caldwell is not what the mother expected. He's polite, measured, respectful. When he shakes her hand, his grip is firm but not aggressive. When he speaks, his voice is genuine. He tells them he understands they have concerns. He knows their daughter doesn't know him well. That's why he's here, to introduce himself properly, not as a business arrangement, but as a person. The father asks if they've met before. James nods. Once, briefly, at a charity gala 6 months ago. She was distant, polite but disengaged. He remembers thinking she looked lonely even in a room full of people. The mother asks what he wants from this arrangement. James leans forward. He's honest. He says he's not interested in forcing anyone into anything. But he believes they could build something meaningful. A partnership. Maybe, with time, something more. If she's willing. The father studies him carefully. He asks what happens if she's not willing. James meets his gaze. He says he'll respect that. But he'd like the chance to try. The mother watches him. He's sincere. Kind. On paper, he's perfect. And that somehow makes everything worse. The daughter returns home late one night. The house is dark except for the living room. Both parents are waiting. She tries to explain. She was sick. Someone helped her. She's sorry she didn't call. The father's voice cuts through her words. Where was she? She hesitates. With someone who helped her. The mother asks who. The daughter says it doesn't matter. But it does matter. The father stands. His presence fills the room. He says they need to talk about her future. The daughter feels ice in her stomach. She asks what about her future. The father delivers the news like he's reading a quarterly report. James Caldwell wants to marry her. The wedding can be arranged for next month. The daughter's voice is small but firm. She says no. The mother steps forward, trying to soften it. She asks her daughter to just listen. To meet James again. To give it a chance. The daughter repeats herself. No. The father's jaw tightens. He says she hasn't even heard. The daughter interrupts. She doesn't need to hear anything. She's in love with someone else. The words explode in the silence like grenades. The private investigator lays a folder on the father's desk. Inside are photographs. The poor guy walking to the clinic. Buying groceries. Sitting on his building's front steps with a medical textbook. The investigator recites the facts. Marcus Way. Age 26. Lives with his father in the East Quarter. Herbalist family. No criminal record. No debt. No connections. No power. No anything that matters in their world. The mother asks if there's anything else. Anything they should know. The investigator shrugs. He's clean. Almost suspiciously clean. Works part-time at a community clinic. Studies medicine online because he can't afford university tuition. Volunteers at a shelter on weekends. Helps elderly neighbors with their groceries. The father stares at the photograph. He asks how long his daughter has been staying there. 3 weeks. The neighbors confirmed it. She leaves early in the morning, comes back at night. Sometimes she stays the whole weekend. The mother sits down heavily. 3 weeks. Their daughter has been living in a 2-room apartment in the poorest part of the city for 3 weeks, and they didn't even know she was gone. The father closes the folder. He tells the investigator to arrange a meeting. He wants to talk to Marcus Way. Face to face. The poor guy receives a phone call. A private number. A woman's voice asks if he can come to an address in the business district. It's important. It's about Elizabeth Chen. He arrives at a skyscraper, all glass and steel. Security escorts him to a conference room on the 40th floor. The view stretches across the entire city. He can see his neighborhood from here, a smudge of old buildings in the distance. The parents are waiting. The briefcase sits on the table between them. The father opens it without preamble. $700,000. Take it. Leave Elizabeth alone. The poor guy doesn't even look at the money. He says no. The mother's voice rises. He doesn't understand what he's turning down. This money could change his life. He says he understands perfectly. The father calls him a fool. The poor guy agrees. Maybe he is. The father pushes the briefcase closer. This money could pay for his education, his father's clinic, everything he's ever wanted. The poor guy asks at what cost. The cost of walking away from something that was never his to begin with. The poor guy leans forward. His voice is steady, unflinching. He says Elizabeth isn't a possession. She's not property to be bought or sold. She's a person. The mother says she's a person from a world he'll never understand. The poor guy replies that he doesn't need to understand her world. He understands her. That's enough. The father stands abruptly, his chair scraping against the floor. He accuses the poor guy of thinking he's noble, of thinking refusing money makes him a hero. The poor guy stands too, matching his gaze. He says taking the money would make him a coward. The father's voice turns vicious. He lists everything the poor guy lacks. He's an herbalist's son. He lives in a 2-room apartment in a neighborhood most people avoid. What can he possibly offer a girl who's had everything? The poor guy's answer is simple, devastating. Safety. Respect. Love. Things she's never had in this house. The mother's face crumples. She insists they love their daughter. The poor guy's voice softens, but his words cut deeper. He asks if they do. Because she collapsed on a street corner, and they didn't even notice she was missing for 2 days. The mother turns away, tears streaming down her face. The father's hands clench into fists. He tells the poor guy to get out. Now. The poor guy heads for the door. The father's voice follows him. If he contacts Elizabeth again, he'll destroy him. He'll make sure he never works in this city again. He'll ruin him. The poor guy stops at the doorway. He turns back, and there's something in his expression, not defiance, but pity. He says the father can try. But he can't destroy what he doesn't understand. He leaves. The briefcase sits untouched on the table. The father corners his daughter in her bedroom. His voice is flat, final. She's marrying James Caldwell. The wedding is in 2 weeks. She stands, facing him. She's already told him no. He says this isn't a discussion. The invitations have been sent. The venue is booked. Everything is arranged. She says she's not doing it. The mother enters, her eyes red from crying. She begs her daughter to reconsider. To just meet James again. Give him a real chance. The daughter says she doesn't need to. She loves Marcus. The father's face hardens. He calls it gratitude, not love. She's confusing being rescued with actual feeling. She shouts that he doesn't get to tell her what she feels. He steps closer. His voice drops to something cold and final. She'll marry James. She'll secure this family's future. And eventually, she'll thank him. She asks what happens if she refuses. The father doesn't blink. They'll cut her off. No money. No support. No family. She'll be on her own, with nothing but her herbalist boyfriend and his poverty. She stares at him, unable to believe what she's hearing. She asks if he would really do that. He tells her to watch him. He leaves. She collapses onto her bed, hands over her face, sobbing into her pillows. Her mother lingers in the doorway, reaching out, then pulling back. She leaves too. The daughter is alone in a room full of expensive things she never wanted. The morning arrives with artificial brightness. Makeup artists and hairstylists fill the daughter's room, their chatter nervous and forced. She sits in front of the mirror, staring at her reflection. The woman looking back is a stranger, perfect hair, perfect makeup, perfect misery. Someone tells her she looks beautiful. She whispers a thank you that feels like ashes in her mouth. The mother enters carrying the dress. White silk, custom-made, worth more than most people's cars. She asks if her daughter is ready. The daughter stands mechanically. She asks if it matters. The mother tries to say something comforting. James is a good man. He'll take care of her. The daughter's voice is hollow. She doesn't need someone to take care of her. She needs someone who sees her. The mother promises he will. In time. The daughter whispers that by then, she won't be able to see him. Or herself. Or anything. Music begins downstairs. The wedding march. 500 guests rising to their feet. Cameras flashing. A life being decided without her consent. She stands at the altar. James is beside her, handsome and kind and completely wrong. The officiant begins the ceremony, voice echoing in the vaulted space. Words about love and commitment and forever. James whispers, asking if she's alright. She can't answer. The officiant asks if she, Elizabeth Chen, takes James Caldwell to be her husband. The room falls silent. 500 people waiting. Her parents in the front row, her father's expression stern and expectant. Her mother's eyes pleading. In her mind, she sees Marcus. His hands mixing medicine. His smile when she wakes up. His voice telling her she's safe. His refusal to take money for loving her. The officiant repeats the question. Miss Chen. Her father says her name. A warning. A command. The bouquet slips from her hands. It hits the marble floor with a sound like breaking glass. She says she can't. Her voice cracks. She says it again, louder. I can't do this. Her mother stands, calling her name. James steps forward, not angry, just concerned. The daughter looks at him, tears streaming down her face. She tells him he's a good person. He deserves someone who can love him properly. But she's not that person. Because she's in love with someone else. She runs. The wedding erupts in chaos. Her father shouting. Guests gasping. Cameras flashing. She doesn't hear any of it. She's already gone, wedding dress trailing behind her, running toward the only place that's ever felt like home. She crashes through the door of the apartment in the East Quarter. Still in her wedding dress, mascara running, breathing hard. The poor guy turns from where he's studying at the small table, shock crossing his face. She doesn't say anything. She just crosses the room and falls into his arms. He catches her, holding her as she sobs, her whole body shaking. Between gasps, she tells him everything. The wedding. The pressure. Running away. Leaving behind her entire life because none of it meant anything without him. He holds her tighter. He tells her she's safe. She's here. She's home. She pulls back just enough to look at him. She says her parents wanted her to marry for money, for business, for everything except love. He asks what she wanted. She looks up at him, and her voice is clear for the first time in weeks. She says she wanted him. Just him. He kisses her forehead. She closes her eyes, breathing him in. He tells her that's what she has. Now. Always. In that tiny apartment with cracked walls and second-hand furniture, she's wealthier than she's ever been. Across the city, the father stands in his office, phone pressed to his ear. His voice is raw from shouting. The Caldwell deal is dead. They pulled out. $5 billion gone. Years of work destroyed in a single afternoon. The mother sits on the couch, staring at nothing. She says quietly that they lost their daughter. The father snaps that they lost $5 billion. The mother finally looks at him. Her voice is steady, devastated. She says they lost their daughter. And they did it to themselves. The father starts to argue, then stops. The words die in his throat. The mother stands. She tells him their daughter chose love. They chose money. And now they have neither. She walks out of the office, leaving him alone in a house full of expensive things that suddenly feel worthless. In the East Quarter, the daughter is making tea in a kitchen the size of her old closet. She asks Marcus if he regrets it. Refusing the money. He doesn't hesitate. Never. She asks if he's sure. Not even a little bit. He pulls her close. He tells her money runs out. But what they have, that doesn't. She smiles through tears. She tells him she loves him. He holds her tighter. He knows. Outside, the city continues its endless motion. But here, in this small room, two people have found something worth more than $700,000. Worth more than $5 billion. Worth more than anything money can buy. They've found each other. And they've chosen to keep it. Asterisk he refused $700,000 because he knew her worth couldn't be measured in currency. Her parents lost billions because they forgot some things, some people, can't be bought, sold, or replaced, asterisk. Asterisk in the end, the poorest man in the city became the richest. And the wealthiest family became bankrupt, asterisk. Asterisk because true wealth isn't held in bank accounts. It's held in moments like these. In choices that matter. In love that refuses to be priced, asterisk.